thought he had seen it all during his years as an intergalactic cargo pilot, smugglers, space pirates, and even the eerie glow of a dying star. But nothing could have prepared him for what would happen after a chance encounter on the pleasure moon of Lyrian 7. It was supposed to be one wild night of dancing and drinks with a mesmerizing alien named the Lara. 2 months later, she showed up at his doorstep with an egg the size of a basketball and a declaration that turned his life upside down. "Congratulations, Derek. You're going to be a father." Lyrian 7 was notorious across the galaxy, a moon where travelers from every corner of space came to indulge in their deepest desires. The entire moon was a blend of glittering casinos, neon-lit streets, and pulsating clubs, the air thick with the scent of exotic spices and sweet liquor. Derek had docked there for a routine refueling after a grueling 3-week haul of supplies to a mining colony. He wasn't looking for trouble, just a good drink and some time to relax before heading to the next job. The moment he stepped into the Stardust Lounge, the vibrant heart of the moon's nightlife, he felt the weight of his travel-worn body fade away. There were the usual faces, smugglers, traders, and off-duty soldiers, but one figure stood out among them all. A tall, fur-covered alien with shimmering silver eyes and a voice like a soothing melody that seemed to cut through the noise of the crowded room. She was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her alien beauty was intoxicating. Her name was the Lara, a member of the Svalari race. The Svalari were known for their striking appearance, with long, graceful limbs, fur that ranged in colors from shimmering white to deep sapphire, and their powerful yet elegant demeanor. Despite the obvious cultural differences, Derek felt an immediate connection with her. They danced under the neon lights, and it felt as if the rest of the world disappeared. The music, the flashing lights, the chaos of Lyrian 7, they all faded into the background as their movements synchronized in a perfect rhythm. Their eyes locked as they danced, the connection growing stronger with each passing beat. Thalara's eyes sparkled with amusement and something deeper, something unspoken, yet undeniable. Without a word, she invited him back to her quarters, and despite his usual reluctance, Derek couldn't resist. The allure of the moment, the unknown adventure, was too much to ignore. What followed that night was pure passion. There was no sense of obligation, no promises or expectations. Just the thrill of the moment, two beings from different worlds coming together in the most intimate way. For Derek, it was a night he would never forget, yet he never imagined it would change the course of his life forever. 2 months later, Derek was back in the void of space, navigating his freighter on a routine mission to deliver hypercrystals to the mining colonies on Calera Prime. The hum of the engines and the steady motion of the ship had returned to the soothing monotony of his everyday life. He wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary. That is, until his comms system pinged with an incoming transmission. To his surprise, it was a hail from a Svalari transport ship. At first, he thought it was some sort of mistake, maybe a glitch in the system. But then, a familiar face appeared on his screen. It was the Lara, standing tall and regal as ever. Her silver eyes glowed softly, but there was something different about her. Her gaze was warm yet determined, and in her arms, she held a large, glowing egg, swaddled in iridescent fabric. It was the size of a basketball. "Derek," the Lara said, her voice calm but firm, "this is yours." Derek blinked in disbelief. He stared at the egg and then back at her, struggling to understand. "Mine?" he asked, his voice a mix of confusion and disbelief. "But how?" Thalara's expression softened. "I know this is unexpected. But Svalari biology is unique. We can mate with compatible species, and in some rare instances, the genetics can bond. Your DNA is the one that did. Our child is a miracle." Derek's mind raced as he processed her words. His thoughts were a blur of confusion, panic, and shock. But as he looked at her, he could see the sincerity in her eyes. The Lara was calm, collected. And she was asking him to trust her. Our people have never successfully bonded with human DNA before, the Lara continued. Our child is the first of its kind. It's extraordinary, Derek. A new beginning for both of us. Derek didn't know what to do at first. His mind was still reeling from the news, his once peaceful life now thrown into chaos. But after a moment of stunned silence, he found himself agreeing, perhaps out of a sense of responsibility, or perhaps because the idea of having a family with the Lara felt right, despite the oddity of the situation. The Lara moved aboard his freighter, and together they began the complicated process of raising the egg. The Svalari had strict protocols for nurturing their young. The egg required a delicate environment to thrive, something that Derek had never even considered before. It needed specific UV light frequencies, carefully controlled temperature, and even periodic cooing sounds to simulate the warmth of a Svalari nest. Derek's life, once centered on transporting cargo across the galaxy, now revolved around caring for an alien egg that might just change everything. In the beginning, Derek was overwhelmed. His duties as a cargo pilot kept him busy, but Thalara's calm guidance made him feel less like a clueless human and more like a partner in this strange adventure. Slowly, he began to learn how to care for the egg, following Thalara's instructions as if it were the most important job in the universe. As the days turned into weeks, Derek began to feel a deep sense of connection to the child growing within the egg. The more time he spent with the Lara, the more his feelings for her deepened. Their shared moments of laughter and quiet conversations about their hopes for the future allowed Derek to see the depth of Thalara's strength and resilience. He had come to admire her not just as the mother of his child, but as someone who had overcome unimaginable odds to be who she was. However, not everyone was thrilled about the prospect of a human Svalari hybrid child. News of the miraculous egg spread through the galaxy like wildfire, catching the attention of xenophobic factions and rogue scientists eager to exploit such a genetic anomaly. Suddenly, Derek and the Lara were no longer just a couple, they were targets. His freighter became a moving target. Shadowy ships began pursuing them, hoping to seize the egg for their own purposes. Derek had always been prepared for space pirates, but this was something far more dangerous. The threat was personal now. In one particularly harrowing encounter, a group of bounty hunters intercepted them near the outskirts of a nearby system. The battle that ensued was fierce. Derek and the Lara were outnumbered and outgunned. But the Lara wasn't just a passenger on his ship, she was an expert in combat, using her agility and strength to fight back alongside Derek. They made a formidable team, working together to outsmart their attackers using the ship's outdated but functional defense systems. As the bounty hunters fled, defeated and humiliated, Derek realized just how much he had come to depend on the Lara. She wasn't just a companion, she was his partner, and their child was a symbol of something greater, a new future, one that was worth fighting for. After weeks of running and hiding, Derek knew they couldn't keep evading the enemy forever. The egg was close to hatching, and with their pursuers still hot on their trail, Derek made a decision. He rerouted the ship to an old, forgotten asteroid belt where he knew an abandoned smuggler's refuge lay hidden. It was the perfect place to lay low and give the egg a chance to hatch safely. The moment the egg began to crack, the entire ship seemed to hold its breath. Derek and the Lara stood together, their hands brushing in the dim glow of the ship's emergency lights. Slowly, the cracks widened, revealing the tiny being inside. Out came a small, fur-covered creature, its eyes glimmering in the soft light. It had Derek's green eyes, but its fur shimmered with the same silvery hue as Thalara's. The tiny creature chirped softly, its small body trembling in the excitement of its first moments in the universe. Derek and the Lara looked at each other, a mix of awe and joy in their expressions. Their child was born. In the months that followed, Derek and the Lara found peace in the quiet of their new home on the Svalari colony. They lived away from the chaos of space, raising their hybrid child in a world where differences were accepted and love transcended species. Derek left his life as a cargo pilot behind and embraced his new role as a father. The love between him and Lara grew deeper with each passing day, and together they forged a new life, one full of hope, adventure, and the knowledge that their child, though born of two very different worlds, was a symbol of unity. As Derek watched their child take their first steps under the twin suns of their new home, he realized something profound. In a universe filled with uncertainty, the greatest strength was not the power to fight or conquer, but the power to love and unite. Derek Parker's journey from carefree pilot to devoted father was anything but ordinary. His story became a symbol of hope and possibility across the galaxy, proving that even the most unlikely connections could lead to extraordinary outcomes. The universe was vast and full of unknowns, but in the arms of his family, Derek had found the greatest adventure of all.